And we're live. Hey everyone, we're a little bit early, but we thought we'd jump on because we're ready to give you tons of amazing information.
Woo! Facebook Live.
Woo! I'm Emily Williams,
I'm James Williams.
and we run a company called I Heart My Life, and we work with amazing female entrepreneurs to help them start and grow their online coaching business. So as everyone's jumping on, I'd love for you to let us know whether you're on live or whether you're on the replay by commenting. We'd love to see comments throughout this Facebook Live just so we can answer your questions and really make sure we're sharing information that you definitely want to know. So as you're jumping on, we'd love to have your participation and any feedback. We have a lot of incredible things to share.
We do. We're getting exciting. This is now officially our second Facebook Live together as a couple in the business, which is very exciting. And I've had a haircut this time as well since last time. So.
Oh, yeah.
So we're getting very professional.
So I hope everyone can hear us. If you want to start commenting, let us know that you're here. We see some people on Instagram Live watching, so that's fun too. And we'll go ahead and dive in with everything we want to share with you. So let's see. So today is all about business strategy. So we want to tell you exactly what's working for us and for our clients in the world of online coaching. So lots to share. So definitely grab a piece of paper and a pen, take some notes. This replay will be up as well if you want to revisit it. We have lots to share with you today.
We do. It's going to be very exciting. For those of you who didn't check out our Facebook Day 1 live that we did last week, make sure you check that out. And there's another one coming after this one as well. But today...
Yeah.
It's all about business.
Strategy. Yeah.
And strategy.
And before we go any further, make sure you apply to be a part of our private webinar, which is happening this Thursday. All you have to do is go to ihmltopcoach.com and apply to learn more about how to work with us closely and also get access to a super private and exclusive webinar where we're going to go deeper on all of this and also answer your questions. So a big week ahead.
Big week ahead. But an exciting week ahead. So It's going to be good.
Cool. All right, so the first thing I wanted to cover today is a little bit around ideal clients. So you might be sick of hearing that phrase. You might feel a lot of pressure to pick the right ideal client. And if that's the case, you're not alone. I know I felt the exact same way. But the thing is it's one chapter in your business. And so when I was first starting out, I actually worked more as a life coach, and then it morphed into business coaching. And so I just want to remind you that it's just one chapter, and this can evolve and change and transform and probably will. And as you grow, you'll be able to affect more and more people. The way I think about it is it's like this platform is like the size of a tree stump. And then as you get bigger, you can grow it and it becomes the size of a stage and more people can fit on there with you. So just remember to start off with one person, one type of ideal client, and then you'll be able to scale and grow from there. But people have to know that you're an expert at what you're doing, and they have to know that you're speaking directly to them. So if you think about it, this is a really morbid example, but it's the one I always use. If you have some sort of really specific cancer, you're going to want to go to a specialist. And it's the same with your coaching clients. They want to know that you're able to help them get results and that you're able to speak directly to their pain points and you understand them. And that can only happen if you're marketing to one person. And it doesn't mean that you need to be a specialist in terms of decades of experience. You can still be that person who's just a step or two or five ahead of their ideal client and offer amazing value. So that's my first point.
Yeah, and I think the temptation is at the beginning of any career really, when you're aiming at a client base, is it feels tempting to spread a wide net because in your mind you're thinking, oh, if I market everybody, then I'm going to attract more clients. But actually, it's the complete opposite. If you're not targeting somebody, you're targeting nobody, and you're going to be kind of that in-between person that's not really attractive to anyone. So I think it's all about really owning who you are, how you want to show up, what your business is, and really owning it. And sometimes it's as much about putting people off as it is about attracting people, and that person will be your ideal client.
Yeah, especially when it comes to Facebook ads and paying for, your marketing. You don't want to be attracting the wrong people because you're going to be paying for that. Same with your email list. What I didn't realize at the beginning was that I was paying for all of these subscribers. And so that means as your list grows, the monthly bill for your email list is going to grow. And so you want to put people off. You don't want to be marketing to the wrong people. And if people unsubscribe, while we're on that note, just let them go on their way. They aren't your right client anyway. I've even had people unsubscribe and then come back. So you never know what's going to happen. But truth be told, I don't ever look at our unsubscribes. Maybe I do now from a data perspective, but very rarely. In the beginning, especially when I was developing my mindset, I didn't look at my unsubscribes because I knew that it would take me to a dark place and I would feel bad about myself and feel like things, weren't happening as I wanted. So you have to know yourself. But remember, unsubscribes, they're not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my next point here that I want to discuss is that videos are king. And so although when you're first starting or even when you're building your business, even for me, I don't find that videos are very natural. I feel like I'm not that great on video, and I have my own mindset things around video that I'm still working through. But videos are so powerful. And the reason why is because your audience wants to know you. They want to connect with you. And although I personally still read emails, and I have a lot of clients who still read my emails and subscribers who say they love getting our emails, a lot of people really want more of an interaction. They want to see you on video. They want to be able to connect with you. They want to see you front and center. I know you found that as well.
Yeah, I think for anyone, getting on video and speaking to the world is scary, and especially when you can't see them speaking back. I even remember doing my first sort of webinars and things and not getting an answer back. Your mind plays all sorts of tricks, but it's the same thing as we talked about looking at your ideal client. If people aren't listening, that's okay. The people that are interested, the people that are your ideal clients, the people that are in any way impacted positively by your video are going to watch, right? And so,
and I think that's an amazing point. Hey, Lucy. I think that's an amazing point because I remember when I went to Oprah's Live Your Best Life event, Elizabeth Gilbert came out on stage and she was talking about how nervous she was. And then she realized it wasn't about her. And it's the same thing with your clients. It's not about you when you're on video. It's about serving your clients. And so many of the women we work with, us included, have this big mission. So we really see our company as not just a company, but as a movement. And I know a lot of our clients really want to create a movement as well. Like Wendy. Wendy's amazing. And she definitely is creating a movement. And that requires you to show up because your clients want to see you, and that helps you spread your message in an even bigger way. Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing that's working really well in video right now is just spending a little bit of money to boost videos so that you can get more views, and then you can build up a retargeting audience so that you can have more people to run your ads to. So you're not just depending on your email list and people opening your emails. You have this big, wide range of people who have viewed your videos. You can even set it so that you only target those people who have watched a certain amount of your videos in terms of the duration of the video instead of just those people who jump on and jump off. So there's tons that you can do with retargeting, and it's super cost effective. We get so much traction with retargeting ads versus just going to cold traffic. So I definitely want to recommend doing that. So Connie's recommending, I saw your email, Connie. You had your kids and you were wondering when you'd be able to jump on. I'm so glad that you're all here together. Lovely to have you here. Connie's in our Money Mindset program. Awesome. So what was that? Okay, videos. Yeah, the other things that are working in terms of videos are things that are really short that people can digest. So this probably won't be a good example of that because this will probably end up being like 40 minutes like the last one. But you can do a combination of things. So do like a 5-minute video. Maybe you do a longer training. And even for launches, people are finding that ungated launches are doing really, really well. And that just means anyone can watch your video. So maybe you do your webinar live on Facebook. Maybe you host a private or a Q&A that you would have previously had as a private experience, and you do it on Facebook Live. So whatever works for you and your audience, but basically doing all you can to get as many eyes on you as possible and as many people hearing your message. That's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And then finally, I would say for my new clients, my clients who are new coaches, we recommend doing a Facebook Live 2 to 3 times a week. And that can feel really overwhelming, but trust me, once you start doing it, you will get better and better and better. I know one of our worst experiences ever was when I filmed my first video series, and it was the worst 2 days of my entire life because I was so nervous and I felt like I was terrible, and James had to deal with me and all of the stress. That was horrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you know what? It's what it takes to run a business is those times when things are really hard and it's the first time and there's just nothing you can do to make it feel comfortable. The reason why Emily's where she is because despite that being really hard, she could have quite easily have just gone through the first video, said, right, let's do the next one, but she didn't. She was still paying attention to getting it right and being a pro. And yeah, I mean, in between takes, it was like it was pretty challenging. It was like Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
But, it really was. But that's what it takes.
It
Right?
was
Sometimes you got to
yeah.
go through that stuff to come out the other side. The messy middle. Robin Sharma talks all the time about this, and it's not real progress unless it's messy, and you have to sometimes pull yourself through the trenches when it's really hard. And look at Marie Forleo, like the queen of videos, and her first videos, they weren't great, and I'm sure she found them really hard. And
Yeah.
no one's born being naturally great at anything.
Yeah.
It's you've got to put yourself out there, and sure, for some people that are more introverted, that's going to be more challenging. It doesn't mean you can't do it. Marie Forleo is an introvert. You're a natural
I'm an introvert. Yeah.
And
Oprah's an introvert.
Right. And so, there's no excuse. If the purpose of what you're doing, if the purpose behind what you're doing is strong enough and you're attached to that, then you can go through anything to get good at it. And look at her now. She may not realize it, but she's amazing on video, right?
Thank you.
Everyone should comment right now. If you think Emily's amazing on videos, just say yes.
I saw LaDawn on there. Hey, LaDawn. Okay, cool. Let's move on. So video, you must do it, basically.
Yeah.
Also, we're getting a ton of opt-ins and lots of traction through Instagram Live and Instagram Stories. Mm-hmm. So have fun with that. Social media should be fun. So find a platform that works for you. You don't have to be cookie cutter at what you do. Just pick one that really works for you.
Amazing. Yes.
Lisa, see? Yay. All of our favorite people. Really, Meadow? Meadow says your videos are why I started working with you.
There you go.
Aww.
See?
Yay.
Meadow didn't see the first one, obviously. I'm joking.
The first ones were actually not that bad, but I was so hard on myself. And I'm the same way with photos. Like, I actually realized that I have to look through them once and then set them aside and then come back to them. And I'm less hard on myself the second time around, but, it's a process.
Yeah.
All right, next one is connection and consistency. So we already talked about connection in terms of building this audience and these followers in terms of video, but you can also build connection in your emails and with your social media posts. And so what I like to remind all of our clients about is that you're really creating that lifelong relationship with your audience, and they want to be along for the ride. Just like everything about Rachel on Friends, like her middle name is Karen. For those of you who don't know, I am a Friends fanatic. Rachel Karen Green. For those of you who do not know, or for those of you who aren't sharing, what you love day to day, what your kids are doing, what your husband's doing, those personal insights that make you you, please start sharing them, because people want to follow the journey. They want to be let in. They want to feel connected to you. And if you're dealing with, say, if you're sharing business strategy, like there's a way to make it fun. There's a way to personalize it, just like what we're doing now, and to build that audience connection so they grow, like, and trust you. It doesn't mean that you give away everything in the kitchen sink, and you can be as open and personal as you want, but really let people in, because that will be the differentiator. So there's tons of people out there marketing themselves, tons of coaches, but you're unique and you are you, and you're the only one with your story. And so make sure you share it.
Yeah. For those people that think, say, the coaching industry is saturated, I say there's not enough, because there are so many ears. For example, how many times have you heard something over and over again, it just didn't sink in, and then one other person said it and it just clicked? Yeah. And this might have been when you were growing up. Your parents might tell you something over and over again, you just didn't listen, and then grandma says it, and it's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And that's the same in any industry, is that your voice speaks to a certain ear, and there is the specific type of client, a type of person that's really only going to want to hear from you. So it's very, very tempting to see people out there that are doing things that are amazing, that you're inspired by, and wanting to copy them, but you can't be anyone better than you can be yourself.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
But I think what you said there is really key. So in the beginning, it can feel like you're kind of a follower and you're just looking to your coaches or whoever you admire to see what they're doing, and you're doing what they're doing, that because it's obviously working. And just know, as you go along your journey, you will get really a lot more clarity in terms of what your big mission is. And so if you don't know exactly what that looks like yet, it's okay. If you don't have your own unique story dialed in yet, that's okay. I always say I'm just a girl from Ohio with really big dreams, but truthfully, I didn't know that that was going to catch on. I didn't know that people would resonate with that. Maybe some of you listening do and some of you don't. That's okay. But the feedback I got from people over time was like, I love that you said that. I really get that. I'm just a girl from blah, blah, blah. And they really, related to it. But that was kind of a fluke. I just was sharing my story. And then I started to understand what parts of it really resonated with clients and what they latched onto and what they really, understood was a reflection of me in them. So but that only becomes clear as you share your story more and more. Cool. Hey, LaDon. Yeah, just keep going. Okay, what do I have next? Okay, consistency. So I was trying to talk about consistency as well, but I forgot it. So consistency, it's so important, just like we were talking about with those Facebook Lives. I realized, so I was talking to some of my clients today, and we were talking about writing newsletters, and someone was saying she needs to spend a certain amount of time on marketing. And she had this big number in terms of the amount of hours. And one of the things that she's doing every week is spending time on her Facebook Lives and spending time on her newsletters. And I was sharing with her that I've written a newsletter every single week for 4 years. And at this point in time, it takes me like 20 to 30 minutes, whereas in the beginning, it took way longer. But just know, the more consistent you are with something, the better it will be in terms of speed, in terms of you and your skill, and also in terms of the clients really trusting you. Because if you're just in their inbox, say once a month, well, the average person, doesn't read all their emails. So it might take months for people to actually open an email from you. And so you need to be in there consistently. I want you being in touch with your audience every single week via email and also via Facebook Live or any other, way of doing videos. It's so, so key to be consistent because you have to be front and center. People are going to forget unless they see you. We're all busy living our lives. You have to be there so that you are front and center and in their mind.
Never apologize for consistently giving value over and over and over and over again. Right?
Or selling. If selling you a program is the worst thing I'm doing, something that will help you, then I'm doing okay. That's what I think. Okay, testing and taking action. So in terms of the coaching industry, one of the things that we found is things are always changing, which can be a little bit frustrating. It can be a little bit confusing. But when you realize that that's the case and you realize that most of the people you admire are always testing and tweaking, then you feel better when you yourself are testing and tweaking. We're all experimenting, and it's not like a paint by numbers game. It's not one size fits all. Different things work for different businesses. And so you have to find out what works for you. The same thing goes with Facebook ads. So we're always testing until we know something is working and have it dialed in. We don't put tons of money towards it. So I see that's a big mistake that people make. They dive right in with things like Facebook ads and they don't really know what they're doing. They don't know who they're targeting. They haven't tested their funnel. And so make sure that you test and tweak along the way. And remember that that's okay and that's necessary, especially in this coaching environment.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really important one because I think that, a lot of people, I get a lot from clients before they've joined, and it's like, I think they think that there's like one perfect model for selling programs or one perfect strategy for a launch. And there just isn't, which is why, at the beginning of any of our programs, we focus so heavily on the person, on who you're going to be and who you're going to target, because that changes the way your product, the way you are going to be marketed, and it's and when you learn to love the tweaking and the playing, then that's actually part of the process. It's part of the fun because you end up discovering random things that work and that you don't know why they work. But that's, if you can learn to love that process, then you'll be very, very successful.
Amazing. Okay, next one is urgency. And so there has to be some sort of urgency in terms of you selling. For a lot of people, pricing works well. So making it so that your price point is for a limited time, it's a special offer, or maybe there's an extra bonus involved. Whatever feels good to you and creates that urgency. Mindset is also key when it comes to urgency. So in the last video that we did, you may have seen it, it was all about mindset. And the thing is most customers, even if they know, like, and trust you, their mindset takes them back to the past. It brings up all these fears around what could go wrong. They get really scared, they get in their head, and then they don't buy. And so you have to be really strong in your mindset, and you have to know how to overcome objections on the phone, on webinars, on trainings, while you're answering questions, in emails, everything, so that you can really speak to your ideal client and help them move through the process, because they're not meant to know how to sign up with you. They've probably never done it before. And so you have to be skilled to be able to help them move forward. This is one of the things we're going to be covering and taking questions about on our private training on Thursday. So go to ihmltopcoach.com to apply for that right now if you're interested. Because this whole mindset around selling and around creating that urgency, it really trips people up. And I don't want to see that happen to you. Our most successful clients, they've mastered this in terms of their own mindset and their own money story. And then they can help other people do the same. Because the truth is, you can't help someone unless they're in your program. And I think so many women especially have this shame around selling. But unless someone signed a contract, they've paid you for your services, and there's that exchange of money and energy, then you're not going to be able to help them. So it's your duty to help them make the decision if it's right for them to get in your program. Don't you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Big time.
And that pertains to my next step, which is pricing, and really being able to figure out what pricing is right for you energetically, and not charge too low, not charge too high. There is that sweet spot, and it's something we cover with all of our clients. And finally, I have a bonus one before James will jump on. So it's around being in the right group. So I was listening to a podcast today, the incredible David Nagel, and he was talking about the book Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And he was reading out one of the chapters. I think it was chapter 4. And he was just talking about how he gave this example of an acorn. And basically, he said this very, very simple thing, but it resonated with me. I didn't even tell you this yet. He said, you can put an acorn on a table all day, every day, but it will never grow into a tree. And so an acorn has to be planted in the ground for it to grow. And it's the same thing with my next and final reminder before James takes over. You have to be in the environment that facilitates your growth. And for me, that meant investing in group programs, even when I didn't have any money and I had to put it on his credit card. It means having coaches. It means being in high-level Facebook groups and surrounding myself with amazing people. It means networking, putting myself out there, even though I'm an introvert. So you have to ask yourself, is your environment supporting your business goals? And if not, that's a problem, and you're the acorn sitting on a table.
Don't be the acorn sitting on the table, people. That's the message.
Real truth with love.
Tables do not grow trees.
No, they do not. Okay, so that's my take on business strategy. As you probably heard in the first Facebook Live and may have already figured out, James and I do very different work, yet we work with the same clients, and it fits really, really well together. So he's going to bring his take to business strategy now for you.
So, we knew this was coming up, and I was thinking, what are some of the main constraints, some of the main things that actually stop a strategy from working? Because like we said, there is no one strategy that works for everyone. There are certain models that can be tweaked for everyone. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to you as an individual and your company as an individual company. And so lesson number 1 is this concept of necessity. And the reason why this is a really important concept is because, as all of you people in business, all your entrepreneurs know, that sometimes things just don't work out. You could have an amazing strategy, you could have an amazing team, you could have, the market could be primed for it, you could be just delivering some incredible content and getting great responses, but maybe you just don't get the sales. Maybe the strategy didn't work. And when that happens and you've poured your heart and your soul into it, the only thing that is going to get you to the next step, the only way that you're going to be able to bring yourself back up, get off the horse, dust yourself down and move on, is if you understand your necessity, if you understand why it is so important for you to move forward, your purpose, if you like. It's such an important one, because the thing that fuels you when you feel like you have nothing left in the tank is that passion for the ultimate dream, is why you get up get out of bed in the morning. And no matter how you're feeling, why you get out of bed. It's the same for, say, a parent with their child. No matter how they're feeling in the morning, they're going to get up and they're going to feed their child. They're going to feed their baby. The baby's screaming all day, and causing all sorts of disruptions, but the baby gets fed and loved and nurtured and cherished because you understand ultimately that you love that child, right? So it's kind of like that in business. If you need to be so connected to the overall mission and the purpose behind what it is you're doing, that nothing can throw you off. And I think we talked about it on the last call. It's about bounce back ability. It's how fast, when you ultimately and inevitably do fall off the horse every now and then, because it will happen, how quickly can you bounce back?
And it's what enabled me to be able to finish my video series, even when I was completely a mess or get on video in the first place, that's what drives you. It's really powerful.
Yeah, and Emily was very connected to her necessity. I think without necessarily knowing that it was necessity or even knowing that it was purpose, but she was so lit up by that. And I think that once you identify that, you can actually go to it as a point of fuel. If she'd known that that was her fuel at the time, it would have still been hard to go through that video series, but she would have been able to access that energy and probably felt more confident about it through the process. So that's number one, really, really important.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
So when it comes to necessity, my question is, I feel like I have a lot of innate necessity. Is that a thing? Or does everyone have it? They just don't know how to access it.
That's a really good question, actually, because I think at the very beginning you did have an innate necessity that you didn't connect to. And I think if you're the sort of person that is an entrepreneur, or you want to be an entrepreneur, you want your own business, then I would bet money that there is some sort of innate necessity there. There's a reason why you're not following suit and just taking the easy road and saying, I'm going to get a job where my days are planned for me and I just have to work and I'm living for the weekend. If that's not you and you want something more and you can't figure out exactly what that is down to like a feeling, then that's an innate necessity. That's
and
something
I think that's
bigger.
what a lot of our clients feel. They feel like this desire for something more, this like they're meant for something big. They might not be able to pinpoint exactly what it is, but like it's this innate knowing, and that's what you need to follow. And you need to be able to generate or regenerate the necessity when it feels like things aren't working and you're not seeing the results or you're not seeing the rewards. And I think that's what's so essential, because so many people stop before they even get there.
Yeah, and you said a really important word, which is generate. Being aware of what that thing is, that purpose, that why, is essential. I think in terms of any growth, whether it's personal development growth or business growth or the growth of anything, you've got to be aware of the things that take it down or lift it up, whatever it is. And that awareness is the necessity, or the awareness of that purpose. And like Emily said, that gives you the ability to generate, because like the energy, the motivation, the productivity it takes to be successful in business is not just going to fall on your lap. You don't sit on an armchair and go, well, you know what, I'll work when I feel productive, or I'll work when I feel motivated. And lots of people say that. I will work when I feel motivated. Yeah. As if it's like going to be, as if a stork's going to fly through the window and just drop it on their lap like one day as a gift. When you realize you have the power at any point to generate the motivation, the necessity to dust yourself off and get up and just move and get excited, and that's really the trick, right?
Yeah. And I think it's the same, with working out. We use that example all the time. Like, no one really wants to get up at 5 a.m. and go to spinning, right? But we want the benefits. We want the rewards. We know how it's going to make us feel. And it's the same thing when things are difficult in your business. Getting on Facebook Live every single day, it feels like a big chore, or maybe even a big headache, or maybe you feel like you can't do it. And I really love Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. If you don't know it, definitely pick up her book or Google her, because it's amazing. She basically counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then she takes action. And she doesn't let herself go into that place of like talking herself out of it. And that's what it takes. And you have to know yourself. It takes a bit of time to really develop into a successful entrepreneur. And especially, we aren't born with that success mindset already created. It's something that we develop, and you develop the habits as you go along, and you start to understand, like James was saying, what really activates you, what triggers you, what takes you down, so that you can really counteract that.
And you can.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so the next point is simply this idea of productivity, which we all know that word, we know what it means, or do we know what it means? To be productive. You can be, there's some secret James going to share with us. The idea, there are lots of books on productivity, and they've been around forever, and there's some amazing authors, and you might have seen loads of to-do tasks and strategies and books that you can buy to lay out your day. But the important thing about any strategy is that a strategy is not going to work without that first part, that necessity. So the way I look at this is to think about, well, what does that word mean, productivity? It means to produce, which means an end result, right? And so if you can break that down to being productive in a day, we've all experienced what it's like to have a busy day where you're just busy. And being busy doesn't necessarily mean being productive. And there's a big, I don't know if it's a misconception or just a very limited way of talking about it, that to be successful, you've got to work hard. And that is true and it isn't true, because there are plenty of people that work hard that aren't successful. There are plenty of people that work hard that aren't happy.
Like, oh, okay, I'll come back. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. What are you going to say?
I was going to say that I think people think that working hard equals more money too. But if that was the case, I love in certain money mindset books, they talk about how if that was the case, every teacher in the world would be rich. Every janitor would be rich. Every hard worker would be wealthy. But that's not necessarily the key to success.
Right. So, the way I like to think about this is that, yes, you've got to work hard, but you've got to work hard at the thing that you love, which is why I call it, it's not my hard work, it's my heart work. Because it's really understanding that necessity, understanding that I'm producing something that will allow you to be productive. And so first off, remember that to be productive means producing. And that means understanding your priorities. So even if you come down to your days, because we know life gets in the way, we can plan out our day, but sometimes life happens. We get that phone call that someone needs picking up from school, or, the internet breaks and there's a power cut or something. But if we understand what our priorities are, then we know what is the most important thing to move on, no matter what, the thing that doesn't get moved, no matter what. So that if challenge hits, we know the other things to move. Because I think a lot of people, they see the entire mountain and they try and work on the whole thing at the same time. But, you don't climb Everest in one step. You start with the first path and understand that which path is the best path for you. And so really understanding, where to start and what's the most important thing is really going to help bring that heart work to life and bring that purpose to life. And the next point around productivity is understanding your strengths. Mm-hmm. And this is something we learned a lot about. I don't think I really understood what a strength was. I didn't really understand a while back the difference between a strength and skill. And a strength really is something that you're drawn to. It's something that you could really master, but it's something a lot of people, they do it, they enjoy it. They don't necessarily see it as a skill because it's something they just do naturally well, or they get energized by. But if you can master your skills and your strengths and own them and delegate the things that maybe you're not as great at, then that's how you find mastery. And mastery is such an important thing. Emily knows where her mastery isn't. There might not be many things that fall in that bracket, but
Thank you.
But there are things, right? And when you know what your mastery is or what your potential mastery is, and you know what isn't, then and you line that up with your productivity and your planning, then you really can start moving really, really fast.
Yeah, and I think like what you just said, so when you're an entrepreneur, especially in the beginning, you're kind of a solopreneur and you're doing everything yourself. And so you do get good at literally everything. And so it's so interesting to be in the different chapters because in the beginning you're doing everything. You had to get good at doing all of it. And then eventually you're supposed to delegate. And it feels like really scary because we already mentioned your business is like your baby and you're going to have to give it away to someone else and trust them. And so it's a total process. And you start to understand your strengths as you go along and recognize like where you definitely shouldn't be spending your time. But even then, like I know for me, it's still a struggle to delegate certain things.
Yeah, but like it's your baby, it's the business, and it's really important. But I think that's where you move to the next level. And I think the one way you when it comes to mindset, you really work on recognizing your progress is. I've had many clients before that have just not set their days up for success. So they're really driven, they're really purposeful, they're so connected to what it is they want to do. But every day they finish the day feeling disappointed with the amount they didn't get done. And it's because they went into the day not actually understanding how long each thing they're going to do is going to take, right? And I think that's really, really important to break down what it is you're going to do and understand how long it's going to take so that you can ultimately finish each day saying, you know what? I worked hard, I produced something, and I'm ready to crush it again tomorrow because there is always another day, right?
And you get faster as you go along. So even if something takes you a long time right now, or what you think is a long time, you will get faster. But the truth is, for most things, I've normally built them up in my head. And then when I actually sit down to do it, it's not as hard, or it doesn't take as long as I thought. So you just have to, do that countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and see, instead of building it up in your head and thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, think about your biggest distractions. I think when it comes to productivity, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
If you did a time study like we've been doing recently and actually looked at what you do every single 15, 20 minutes for an entire day, you'll realize where there's a lot of time spent in distraction or not focused on one thing at a time. And that's a really important, that's a really important message. And I think that when we are distracted by things, quite often it's this getting in the way. Understand, and as a high performance coach, something that I talk about all the time is understanding that you are the engine. This is the engine that is running the business, that is producing, that is being productive. If this isn't running at optimal speed, and if this isn't healthy, and this isn't healthy, then the engine running the business isn't healthy, which means it's not going to be able to produce at an efficient pace. So you can be as stressed and as you like, and you can work all you can at a really good strategy. But if the engine's not running at optimal, then your ability to be super productive is going to be compromised, right?
Yeah.
And that brings me on to my last point of productivity, was this idea of work-life balance, which was reframed for me by a really great friend of mine, Mel Abraham, who I interviewed recently. And, he said it's a really interesting point, is that work-life balance makes it seem like there's time. There's some sort of measurement of time between how much you should be working and how much you should be with your loved ones or doing social other things, right? But he calls it work-life harmony, which means that, because especially as entrepreneurs, we're doing things that we love. And if that's in harmony with the time and the really present time that we're spending with our loved ones, that we're spending doing things that we love, then that harmony means it's working. So it's not always measured with the amount of time that's spent on anything. Productivity is not about how much time. It's about the quality of time.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that work-life balance thing, there's Lauren. Hey, Lauren. It makes entrepreneurs feel bad, especially, I'll speak for myself. Like, I love what I do and I can easily work. Like, I actually have to tell myself to get up and drink water and do all the things that high performers do. Because it's not a natural thing for me, because I could work all day, every day. And so when I think about work-life balance, I'm like, oh God, I totally do not have that. And you can go into comparison and what am I doing wrong? And I'm not, going to get anywhere because I don't have work-life balance, and my family's no longer going to love me, and my husband's going to think I'm crazy. And of course, all of that, James does think I'm crazy sometimes. But when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And I'm not saying every day, all day. There are moments where it does and you want to throw the computer out the window, but it feels like your purpose and you're in alignment. That's where we're looking to help all of our clients create. And that's like the best feeling in the world, when you know that you could do this all day, every day, even if you weren't getting paid for it. I recently got a book deal with Hay House, which is super exciting. And one of my friends was saying, you got to prepare your business. All the stuff is going to happen when the book launches. And of course, I want that. I want my message to spread. But this is something I would do even if I wasn't making money from it, or even if there was no ego thing about it, because I've always wanted to write a book. Like, this is something I love. It's a passion, and I would do it even if it was just for myself. So that's what we're talking about here. And when you're in harmony with what you're doing, like, there is that, I don't know if balance is the right word, but there is that harmony.
Yeah, it is harmony. Because the amount of times I've had the conversation where I've said to mums that feel guilty that they're not spending enough time with their kids, I say, well, what do you think your kids will get more from? And 2 hours of you being really present with them and interacting and listening and engaging, or 4 hours of you on your computer with them there, kind of half listening to them? That's harmony. It's less time, but quality time. And I think that sometimes as an entrepreneur, we've got to put a lot of hours in, and we can't see our friends or our family as much as we'd want to. But if we make sure that the time that we do spend with our friends and our family is present and is quality time, then we effectively are being productive in that moment as well. We are producing a result. We're producing connection and love. And so, that's, to me anyway, what work-life harmony really means. Yeah,
and I think it makes me think of, especially with coaches, we are able to, or I'll speak to more myself and for my clients, a lot of us are able to output a lot of things. We're able to do a lot of things at once, move the ball forward, all of that. And we forget that it's important to give to ourselves as well. And so that means listening to podcasts or reading or, doing whatever it is that makes you feel fulfilled and also increases your learning. Like that needs to be part of your business strategy. And I think people forget that. I mean, you see all these books behind me. Yes, sometimes I start a book and I don't go all the way through, but I have read a ton of books over the past 4 years. All of our programs include massive reading lists, and we recommend everyone is reading at least one book a month. And so just remember that has to be part of the strategy. You doing the work on yourself, that heart work, and that's learning, really improving. So you have more to give and offer to your clients and obviously help fill yourself up.
Yeah. And then the last concept, and I know we're running quite through, it's just a really important one around influence, because in any business, right, whether it's a service-based business or not, you are, you're serving, your product is going out to a client or clients. And so to do that, there has to be an element of positive influence. They've got to believe in you. They've got to believe that what you're providing is going to make a difference in their life or their business. And so developing influence is a really important subject. And I think that the most important thing to understand about that and influence, in whether it's in business or with your loved ones or your family or anyone, is that positive influence has never been developed by dictators. It's been developed by role models. And so it's up to us to be a role model for our clients, for our loved ones, for those that we serve. And so, it's all very well giving the content and doing and working hard, but we've got to really do the work ourselves. And that goes back to what we were saying about sharing and connecting with your audience. That's how you develop influence, is by being authentic and being real and doing the work yourself. I think that word influence, sometimes my clients have initially felt funny about that word influence, because there's obviously negative influence out there in the world. But what we're talking about here is positive role modeling, positive influence and
impact.
That's how ultimately you make impact. If by putting yourself out there, by doing the videos, by sharing stories, by connecting with your list all the time, that's how you're sharing yourself and you're developing a relationship and you're connecting. And then when you're connected, you get to impact, you get to influence by serving. And so it's ultimately your responsibility to develop influence so you can serve with something is going to make an impact in the world with your clients.
I love that. Amazing. So I think that's all we have for you today. I know a few people asked about the link to our private webinar. It's ihmltopcoach.com. We'll be answering your questions. I also want to talk about the law of impact and income, which I kind of touched on here, but it's basically why someone like a teacher in a school will influence people and be labeled a teacher, but not make the type of money like Tony Robbins, who is also considered a teacher, makes every single year. So we want to talk about that. But this is a private exclusive webinar. You have to apply to gain access. We'd love for you to be there. It's on Thursday, May 17th at 5 p.m. London time, 12 p.m. New York time. So go ahead and apply now, ihmltopcoach.com. We're also going to share information about our iHeart coaching program, which you'll be able to jump into if it's right for you. This is an incredible program for new and aspiring coaches. So if that's something that interests you, definitely get on this webinar so we can answer your personal questions, tell you more about it, and give you a special offer and opportunity to join us. So we'd love to share more with you. We're so grateful for your time and all your comments, everyone who's been on. It's been so lovely interacting with you and seeing all your ahas. We'd love to read your comments in the replay as well. So if you're watching the replay, go ahead and share what your biggest takeaways are. Make sure to share this video with a friend if there's someone you know who needs it. We'd love that and really, really appreciate it. And we're happy to answer any questions in the comments as well. Sending lots of love. Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
Awesome. All right,
Thanks,
and
everyone.
then we'll be back on Facebook Live on Wednesday. Same time, same place. So hope to see you there. We'll be talking about coaching mastery and high performance.
We shall see you on Wednesday.
Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.